Hey, what's up, my friends? JB Webb back with you. It's episode 59. We have a local legend. We have two of these. Local legend 59, episode 60, the next one, dedicated to the people kind of behind the scenes, but really that keep pushing it forward. The entrepreneurs, the fun makers. It's those people that run clubs, and we've got two local legend episodes. This first one, the episode 59, dedicated to Will Walker. We got to go to his place and sit down and speak with him, and we hope you enjoy it. Go to wjbwnetworks.com for all the information on everything that we're doing, how you can be a part of our movement. You want to be a part of my movement? Okay, that's just not even... Anyway, all right then. I guess I've said enough. Enjoy the show. We'll see you. We got another doubleheader this weekend, back to back. Support these guys, for God's sake. Hey, what's up? It is JB Webb. I am sitting here inside of Little Indies with Mr. Will Walker, and he is our local legend interview for this week. A very gracious, hard-working guy who took some time out of his busy day to chat with us. Will Walker, welcome to the JB Webb Show, and how you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, no problem. You definitely are an Orlando legend. I know people may think, 20 years ago, there was a little place nestled down by Princeton right off of Mills that you forged. You had great bands in there, and this is 20 years ago, so it was one of the best places to play music in Orlando, and you still really hold that title here, I would say, at least as far as that musical acts that you bring in. That music just ended, so that's good. What I'm interested in, and maybe you can share with us a little bit, and thanks, we're doing a live interview here inside of Little Indies. As I mentioned, this is a beautiful place. There's all the smell of wood in here. This is a no-smoking establishment. A lot of cool stuff happens here, like private, intimate shows. You got a great selection of beer, but let's rewind maybe almost 20 years and talk a little bit about your origins, in case people don't know. You had Will's Pub. Was it Will's Lockhaven Pub, or what? Was that right?
Yeah, that was Will's Lockhaven Pub. We were located right outside of Lockhaven Park. We were actually part of the Lockhaven Motor Inn when we opened.
Right, there's like a hotel there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Long story short, I ran the motel, and the tenants that were in there left in the middle of the night, stole the air conditioning, all the copper wires.
They gutted it.
Yeah, and it was my job to get the place rentable again. So we opened a bar.
Right next. Right.
Yeah.
So did those sit empty for a little while, or the bar kind of fueled the refurbishing of the hotels?
Oh, well, it was a crack motel. Not a lie.
Well, there were a lot of those in Orlando, even right off of Colonial, right by that Presbyterian church where they're doing the Favo thing, I know. So it kind of goes without saying, but...
Yeah, the times were ripe for it. There was a cleaning process. The bar actually helped us clean up the motel. But then again, we were allowed to party at the motel, and the bar could be a big mess, and nobody cared.
Right.
So.
Well, you had a lot of great musical acts come through Orlando back then, and I know some pretty big names came through that joint. What were some of your, because you're a purveyor of music and purveyor of finely crafted beers and ales and meads and such, what's your taste for music, and how has that kind of played a role for what's been going on with Will's Pub throughout the years?
Well, I mean, being reflective on it it ebbs and flows as far as the passion, because sometimes it's working out really well and it fuels your desire to go find more. Right. And it's funny when things aren't going so great, you kind of don't pay attention for a second, because you can't keep that fueled.
100%.
So yeah, so what? I find that like there's just an up and down with the music that I'm into, and sometimes it's just like Sunday we had Precious their reunion, and it was such an awesome show that I'm revisiting a whole decade of things that I probably haven't paid attention to for quite a long time just because of that show.
Right. Right.
And it brought me back to a point where Orlando had this ridiculously strong music scene.
Right.
Not just the support, which sometimes comes and goes, but the talent. These guys got together and they wrote ridiculously great songs, and it wasn't just one genre. There was a total, like the whole scene, whether it was funk or jazz or rock or whatever. These guys were all going to each other's shows and playing on each other's records and like really building a community and making great music.
Yeah.
And sometimes a lot of the things that are happening, at least that I see, there's some really cool shit happening, but that collaboration isn't there as much because people are in their bedrooms more and they're in a studio and they're more isolated, so it doesn't seem to be as cohesive,
Right. Or as organic, maybe.
Sure. Yeah. Where a decade ago, you'd see somebody like Anthony Cole walk into a room, and the next thing you know, he's on stage playing with somebody he barely knows, and this thing happened, and it wasn't jam banding necessarily. It was just they were creating,
It was tight-knit. Community, and you create a lot of that option for those guys to come and do that at this stage, at the stage before down Lock Haven. I mean,
well, that's kind of how all this happened, Like, my friends are the ones that made all this happen. Whether it started with a few local guys that came into the pub and they're like, we want to play here. So then we built a stage, and then they played. And then places like the Go Lounge or Skinny's downtown, and some of the smaller venues were actually even smaller than us. So when Michael McCraney from The Social needed to like put some shows through somewhere, he started using Will's. And to this day, I still have a relationship with him and a few other promoters like that use Will's as like a
Is that the
start
figurehead?
Space. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, now it's Foundation,
okay.
But it started.
Yeah, I remember him from what was it? It was Sapphire back then. Yeah. Before.
He still books The Social and the Beecham, and they feed shows into Hard Rock.
Okay.
And all that. But it's friends like him and musicians that are out on tour that tell their friends they should play at Will's, or even make Orlando a stop, because sometimes that's a tough sell.
Right. Well, I grew up in Daytona, and you'd be amazed when you drop Will's Pub over there, and get me to play in there, hook me up with that guy. So you've got the legend beyond outside of Orlando, which is especially with music.
Well, falling in a time frame and being around for as long as we have, it kind of fuels that. It makes it it kind of grows upon itself, and even like we opened indies to cater to people that maybe I go to dinner with that have actually outgrown most of the stuff that happens at Will's.
Okay.
So we're doing a little more relaxed. You can come in, grab a big bottle of beer, bottle of wine, grab a table. What we're doing isn't supposed to be so loud to where you can't really have a conversation or catch up with a friend.
Right.
And it's non-smoking.
Yeah.
It's just
for
lack of a better word,
a different plateau.
Yeah,
maybe.
I won't say more adult-like.
Yeah,
but it's more adult-like.
Well, it's very nice in here. You guys, when you walk in, you can smell the wood.
Yeah,
which gives it a good feeling.
It's all it's probably 80% pallets that we broke down. The tabletops, the bar top, all the facade stuff. Trying to do stuff that's a little greener. And we're kind of going in that direction just because.
That's a way to be.
yeah, for sure. It's hard.
Conserving,
In the bar business in particular, we are just big, huge trash generators.
Right.
And trying to break that mold is harder than you would think. Even dealing with your city and all that, they're like, why do you want to do that? Like, because nobody else is doing it. They don't think that anybody's thinking that way.
So, I mean, are a lot of the bars kind of held to the recycling piece, or is that not you kind of pushing ahead on that?
We have a mixed use recycling dumpster behind here.
Right.
When we opened the new Wills roughly 5-6 years ago, the city didn't have a comprehensive recycling program for places like ours.
Right.
So things have changed quite a bit. The city has actually embraced not just what we're doing, but they're going greener all the way around.
Yeah.
But downtown, if any of those places don't have a recycling option, they all go to the same big dumpster area down there and just get rid of their stuff,
Yeah.
But with Indies, it was definitely a step in a greener direction.
Right.
We're using more recyclables behind the bar. We don't do bottled water in either place, just trying to make less of an impact.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, let's talk, since you brought us to the bar, let's talk a little about some of the cool drinks. I know the night I came in here, somebody was making some great recipes, mixing different beers and stuff. It was so cool. What kind of directions, or what about your passions with beer, craft beer, that have also kind of played a role? I know you not only introduce new music, great music, but also great beers, and other combinations of, what's the right word? It's not mixologist. Well, it's kind of a mixologist, but with beer and bitters and...
You lucked into a really cool night.
Okay.
My girlfriend actually works at the Courtesy Bar downtown, and they're craft cocktails, and she makes all of her own astringents and bitters and syrups. Like, our house looks like a mixology lab. So she fills in every once in a while, and they're beer cocktails.
Right.
And a lot of craft cocktail bars, like liquor bars, they do beer cocktails. Most craft beer bars don't. So we've been experimenting some, and she comes in with her fun stuff and takes the basil and slaps it on her wrist and opens it up, and it's something we're experimenting with, and it's good, but not everybody's into it,
Right,
and for Will's, we're not going to do that,
It's not like, hey, give me a squashed strawberry alley cat with Guinness or something. Yeah. No, I understand. So, but the night I was here, though, the people were like, this is delicious. And I was one of them. I was like a converted whatever going, you got to try this.
Well, that drink you're talking about is now on the menu at the Courtesy. She liked it so much that she started making it there.
You gotta
beer is in such a great place right now. Like, American craft beer is the best beer in the world.
Yeah.
Hands down. They're experimenting with old things, new technology. The breweries themselves, as far as what we were talking about with green things, most of them are just way over and above. Sierra Nevada makes so much power a few times a year in Chico with their solar program and everything that they sell power back to the city of Chico.
That's awesome.
That's how efficient they are. And they just opened up a new brewery on the East Coast that's supposed to be even more efficient with better turbines and they're not the only ones. A lot of these, they started off in a kitchen with some kettles, and now they're big multi-million to $1 billion corporations like Sam Adams, and they're doing greener things. They're composting on property, they're making biodiesel out of some of their stuff, and slowly they're trying to push it into our direction, which is pretty cool.
So, speaking of kind of that whole green movement, you own these buildings here. You manage these buildings.
I
you
lease
control.
them.
Are you able to put art on those walls out there?
I will. When we're done with this, I'll show you two guys. Oh, on the outside?
Yeah, on the outside too. I saw some of the stuff you're doing on the inside, which I got a little footage.
There's a really cool mural that's already drawn up for the outside.
Oh, badass.
It's just the guys that were going to do it are scenic artists, and they've been up in Wisconsin for 6 or 8 months. But it's pretty badass. It's a chopper with a dude riding on it with a water skier behind it, and the water going up, and the space shuttle. So it's really
sharks and machine guns.
It's like Florida with the shuttle still going up with a kick-ass chopper with a water skier behind it with the water going up and all.
That's
So
bad.
yes, that's going to happen
Okay,
for sure.
cool. So what about some green enhancements? Are you going to go, what's the guy's name in California? Ed Robinson? Nah, that's not his name. Anyway, the guy who's does a lot of green stuff. Do you have plans for this building here? Or what are the plans for Will's Pub and Little Indies?
Part
and
of
this compound you basically
part of the problem with getting green, like as I would like to do, is having the cash to do it. You have to have some money to put down.
Right.
These buildings are old.
Yeah.
I don't own them, so just even properly insulating them costs a fortune.
Yeah.
And then even like better AC units and just all that. It's an outlay of money that
Right.
I sell beer, not food, not liquor.
Right.
I promise I don't make any money off the shows. Like, just we sell beer. So at 50 cents a dollar times whatever, it's
It takes a little.
I'm doing
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
Everybody eats at my house. We're
Yeah,
good.
no problems.
But I'm not getting the roof redone with insulation and all that. So we do things that we can. We make sure we're recycling cardboard.
Right.
We built a can pen behind the building to start doing the cans, and we were going to donate the money to Fern Creek Elementary School for like a food program. Problem is, there's a couple of homeless guys that they appear to need the cans just as much as anybody else.
God bless you, man.
Yeah, so it's kind of like you leave work at 3 o'clock in the morning or 4, and you're tired, and there's a guy in
hustling,
taking the cans out, and you're like, well,
okay.
They're getting recycled, So.
Stop by Fern Creek Elementary on your way.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome, man. Well, you're definitely a local legend in this area, not only because you've been around here for so long, but again, the storied success of what you've done. And I think you just said it a minute ago there. You're not trying to get rich off of the music. That seems like a more of a natural extension of having a place where people who know each other and love each other and want to build a community can come and drink, kick back, be themselves, hear great music, drink great beer.
Well, the funny thing is, when that's happening, when the music scene comes together, or people are getting together because they like a band, or it's building community. You meet friends, you find out their interests, you find out what they need, and vice versa, and then a decade later, somebody needs a kidney.
I saw that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
I saw
those
that.
those
Hello
things,
Kidney shirts. That was awesome.
I mean,
I talked to Steve at the damn Southern Fried Sunday that Joseph Martin did.
Right.
And he told me that story. I got it on a recording.
Yeah.
I put it out there. But lo and behold, they raised a bunch of money for him to help him.
We made $4,300 for him on Sunday night.
That's fantastic, man.
But that happens more regular than, and it's not like trying to milk it like, hey, check us out, we're doing that. Steve between, his band and supporting other bands and being involved in like art.
Yeah.
He's supported things just as much as that just supported him, you know? So there's a community
full circle kind of deal.
Yeah, and it's not like you do it so down the line you can milk it. You may never do that.
Right.
But it's there,
Well, and that's the beautiful thing is that there definitely is a community feel with Will's Pub, with Little Indies, with the Mills 50 district in general. I guess on a kind of a closing note, you recently had a cool honoration from the Mills 50 district for doing some great volunteer work. How does that, maybe if you can give us a glimpse, and I know you're not like scripting this out, I'm going to do this and do that, but what kind of visionary stuff do you see for the future here in Orlando and Will's and music, and maybe the community as a whole?
Yeah, definitely not scripting it out. I mean, you see an opportunity to move that forward and you take it. Mills 50's been a really cool vehicle.
That's cool.
It's driven by the city, and it was hard to kind of swallow that they were going to be involved with something that was organically happening. Right. You look at the north side of downtown with Orange Avenue, the Ivanhoe District, Audubon Park, this area.
Right.
College Park,
Baldwin. Yeah.
There's just this thing happening that people from outside of Orlando don't. When they find it, they're blown away.
Yeah.
But they don't know. And for years, the city had nothing to do with helping it. And for a second, I bucked. I'm like,
Yeah. What are they?
what are you doing? You
Yeah.
know, like what do you have to do with this? They've made efforts to help. Problems I've had with them with opening and just things. Somebody graffitis the wall, and at first the city was like, your fault. And now with the interaction with Mills 50, they know that it's not our fault. That
Right.
it's some jackass that's
Right.
got a can of spray paint that's hitting the whole neighborhood. So it's eased up some things. They've helped with the recycling. They had one of the parking spaces out front converted to a bike rack on Mills. You know,
Yeah.
so they're helping do things, and they promote our events.
Right.
But evolutionary, like down the line,
Who
hopefully
knows?
we just stay open.
Well, we're going to definitely encourage people, if they haven't to, outside of Orlando, inside of Orlando, support Will's Pub, support Little Indies. We've been speaking to the local legend, Will Walker. I want to thank you for your time, man. I know you got a bunch of stuff cooking today.
Yeah.
You know, there's food trucks out here every other. How many times a week you have food trucks? Two or
Couple
three,
times a
almost.
week.
Okay, a few
Yeah.
times a week. There's a great community here. Your porch outside of Little Indies is beautiful. You could sit out there. The Mills 50 district with all the fresh market and all that stuff is growing, and we want to ensure that the patrons of Will's Pub and the benefactor of this great fun, great music, great beer continues to thrive and grow. So, Will, I'll thank you again. And I'm JB Webb. We'll be back with a little bit more. We've been speaking with Will Walker, local legend. WJBW, Orlando, Florida. The first quasi-radio web show.
Wow. Yeah.